It is the entrance of thy word that bringeth life and light through the glorious, and let the people be blessed by thee, but never impressed by me. Caused by the revelation of thy word to see you more clearly, follow you more nearly, hear you more dearly, love you more clearly. Now, Lord, let the words of my mouth and the meditation that is on my heart be acceptable in your sight. O Lord, thy strength, thy redeemer. With every glad heart in the room, please help me by shouting amen on tonight. I want to welcome not just those that are here, those that are on Facebook Live with us, those that are on YouTube with us. Some were texting me saying we can't get on our switcher thing. That was a limited time. We've exceeded that, but we will see what's going on, see if we can get that back, because that was a helpful tool for us. To the best woman in the world for me, Miss Nazia Candia, thank God for her. To, of course, God, the head of all of our lives, my apostles Alan and Benita Patterson, I thank them on today. 2 Kings chapter 7, if you will. 2 Kings chapter 7. We don't have much time tonight, so I want to try and get through this as much as I can. 2 Kings chapter 7. 2 Kings chapter 7, if y'all don't mind. Because I want to re-explore where we left off on Sunday. 2 Kings chapter 7. Maybe y'all can help me in one place or another. 2 Kings. For those of you that were not with us on Sunday, we looked at this text, and Jay, I was kind of iffy about giving this message. I'm gonna tell you why. I was a little iffy about giving this type of message. Pastor Wiley, because this was something I had to wrestle with myself. 2 Kings chapter 7. Please feel free to read the text at any time, but I do want to kind of give you some of the text here. It says that Elisha replied, "Listen to this message from the Lord. This is what the Lord says. By this time tomorrow." By this time tomorrow. In the markets of Samaria, 6 quarts of choice flour will cost only 1 piece of silver. 12 quarts of barley grain will cost only 1 piece of silver. The officer assisting the king said to the man of God, "That couldn't happen even if the Lord opened the windows of heaven But Elisha replied, you will see it happen with your own eyes, but you won't be able to eat any of it. I can stop right there. We could just hit on a lesson just there. Let me break this down a little bit. In this particular first verse, this man of God prophesies that in just 24 hours, where there was once famine, starvation, there will be plenty. And Jay, if I can be a little real for just a moment, one of the wonderful things I found about life is that there are moments when things turn around quicker than I expect. Now I'm gonna tell you why. See, and that even brought me to this question here. Why are we so negative? What? Y'all forgive me. I had some negative friends, some negative family around me a lot of times. So this question still ponders me as to why are we so negative? Our imagination, the first thing we certainly drift off to when we hear God say something wonderful is we think of the worst case scenario. We are oh Lord help me. We are conditioned to believe the worst. But here in our text, the prophet says things will turn out for the better than you thought. Now let's be clear, this is a prophet. He isn't as unrealistic. He isn't. The prices that Elisha predicts are still high at this moment. He says that there will be enough, and that is far better than the state of things as they are presently. Enduring a famine while under siege. I don't know, maybe I was the only person that I don't know if I have anybody that ever worked in a grocery store on tonight, but I watched prices of various goods rise in just the time I was at BJ's Wholesale Club. Watched it happen. I watched it happen, and it didn't just start in 2023. The rise really started when the pandemic first came out. When they first told everyone they are to be wearing masks and doing things, that the price of different things started rising. And as a grocery worker or manager or whatever you want to call supervisor, you start noticing that the rise is affecting people when people don't buy things. I know that's not too much about the text, but we have to kind of understand that no matter how many times we may get vaccinated, we're still in a pandemic. Verse 2, the officer assisting the king says to the man of God, that could never happen. Here's where I had a problem with this. Let me read the verse and I'm going to tell you why I had a problem. This is an officer assisting the king to the man of God. And he says that couldn't happen even if the Lord opened the windows of heaven. Now, to the king in this time, I got a little beef with your assistant. If I can use that language here for just a moment tonight. To the king, I got a little beef with your assistant. As a prophet, I got a little beef with this assistant. Alex, let me tell him why. Because if I am an assistant to the king, to the man of God, number one, I'm connected. I'm connected in some way to the man of God. So, don't you think, and again, this is why I'm asking y'all to help me here with this text tonight. Don't you think that his connection with the man of God, his connection to the prophetic word, should really put him in an opposite way of thinking? Watch this. This is the king's administrative assistant. Although he is no stranger to the prophetic word, in this difficult moment, he scorns the very word he is somewhat connected to. He doubts the power of God. The phrase translated as windows of heaven here refers to rain. He doubts the creativity. He thought that God could only work in one way. Looks around, thinks that because Samaria was surrounded, well, so was God. Well, prophet, you got to understand that if Samaria is surrounded, what makes you think God can move? Y'all forgive me, I didn't give y'all my title. It says, here's our title in case you forgot it. If not now, when? And if not you, then who? That's all I want to mess with. If not now, when? And if not you, then who? Who's going to be the one? He doubts this creativity of God. He thinks that God can only work in one way. He looks around and thinks that because Samaria is submerged and surrounded, so is the God that holds up Samaria. Y'all let me talk for just a minute here. See, let's get something clear. We have to be careful, especially being prophets, apostles, whatever title you may hold in your church, in your jurisdiction, of having a carnal view of God working. Can I preach this like I feel it? said you gotta be careful having a carnal view, especially when you're an assistant to the man of God. Y'all help me just a little bit here, because y'all a little too quiet. He imagines that the only way God will provide is if he opens the windows of heaven. He's saying, well, God's up there. I'm down here in the midst of this mess. And that he gives them this thought that if we don't see it, the prophet has already said by this time tomorrow. By this time tomorrow. Ready? That I could have just stopped at that moment and just gave you a message just from that. But my thing I was wrestling with God on is really, he says in the midst of a prophet, he's an administrative man to the man of God, and he has this issue of believing. He said God's going to have to open the windows of heaven. We always say God will open the windows of heaven, pour us out a blessing that we have not room enough to receive. So now I not only contradict what God said, now I just contradicted what the prophet has prophesied. Stay with me. Stay with me. Can I have just a few moments? If not now, when? But if not you, then who? Who? He doubts the messenger of God. Elisha, let's be clear, Elisha has not prophesied anything up until this point that did not turn out the way he had spoken it. Elisha has a track record as a prophet. Everybody knows when you got a track record, that's what you're most famous for. If I have the track record for cooking the best lasagna, that's my, y'all forgive me, that's my track record. Some may have the best track record when it comes to driving on a Indiana 500. That's their track record. Some have the best track record when it comes to math. That's their track record. He has a track record of the as being a prophet, and all in all, the officer well illustrates this conduct of unbelief. Can I give you a few things? Unbelief, and I'm going to show you where he lies in all of this. He dares to question the truthfulness of God's promise. Unbelief says, this is a new thing. Ain't nobody tried this out. So it can't work. Unbelief, y'all, says this is a sudden thing. And suddenly, and a sudden thing and cannot be true. Unbelief says there's nowhere in the world I'm going to accomplish this. Unbelief says there's only one way God is going to work. Unbelief says even if God does something, he got to do something more for me to believe it. Can I push it? Elisha replies, okay, since you don't believe, he says, you're going to see this happen with your very own eyes. But you won't be able to eat it. Let's remember, anything the prophet Elisha has said, not one word that has come from his mouth, never ever did not come to pass. So he says to the man, he says, listen, you will see it before your very eyes, but you will not be able to eat of it. Ready? That's a dangerous prophecy. That's a dangerous prophecy right there. Because when God does something, I want to be the person that is able to eat of it. Y'all not talking to me. I said when God performs a miracle, I want to be able to eat it. Prophet, why are you on this? Because there are moments when our doubt really keeps us from fulfilling that promise. Mark chapter 9 verse 24 gives us the very thing we ought to be praying when we start unbelieving. It says, Lord, help, please help my unbelief. But here he is, a man who's heard from the prophet. It says, man, you know that ain't gonna happen. You know that ain't gonna come to pass. I don't know why you trying to get us to believe that. The prophet's words contain a harsh judgment, but illustrate a reality that many unbelievers experience even today. Let me go down a little bit because I skipped through a lot. Then the scene now flips to the city of Samaria. So I did this. Meanwhile, at the gates of... Come on, let's go to Samaria for just a minute. Let's go to Samaria for just a minute. Go to verse 3. Now, there were 4 men with leprosy sitting at the entrance of the city gates, and they say, why should we sit here and die? Here we go. We come back into unbelief again. Why? Y'all, excuse me. Jay, why should we sit here and die? See, now this leprosy can be any type of disease, unclean. Leprosy was a disease that made a man or a woman, in this sense, potentially unclean and unable to live among the rest of the Israelites. And here they are sitting at the entrance of the city gates. Let me bring a term to you real quick. Liminal space. There are a lot of things in this text that involve liminal space. This is defined as a transitional place in between. It may be physical. It can be a doorway. This can be a divorce. What does that say? This can be emotional. Again, I invited y'all last week, get out your feelings. Or the loss of a loved one. It could be metaphorically. Like a decision. Liminal space and places can invoke uncomfortable and eerie feelings and emotions. Let's be clear. Let's be real for a moment. Who really likes waiting rooms? I had to wait for an appointment for about 3 or 5 days. Now I gotta come and sit and wait just for the doctor to really see me. Or hanging out in breezeways in between buildings. Why did I bring that up? Who really enjoys this gnawing feeling that comes with not knowing what is coming next? Can I be real? And my mama kind of knows this. My sisters don't know this. My brother knew it to a degree, but we never touched it. I hate not knowing. And GHC, you probably learned this for the first time too. For those GHC that may be watching, this is my thing. I hate not knowing what's gonna come next. I hate it. Some of y'all know I don't like using the word hate in my messages, but I really don't like not knowing what's coming next. Liminal space can be hard because it hits you till it hits you. Can I keep going? One transformation coach and even a mind expert says liminal spaces are where one thing ends and another is about to begin, but you're not quite there yet. You're in the space in between. I can't stand being in between. I promise y'all I'm gonna get y'all out this text. It's a weird, funky place, if I can use that. See, the gate of this city was the marketplace, as well as the court of justice, as well as a place where all types of transactions took place. It was all these things. And the entrance and the exit of that city, which means you only had one way in and one way out, which means you had to pass the same way you came in order to leave. What I had a problem with what I had a problem with is this. Is that he says, why should we wait here to die? gonna starve if we stay here. But with the famine in the, we might as well go out and just surrender to this army. Because if I stay here, I'ma die. If I go out there, I'ma really die.